Our story picks up with Hanuman entering the city of Lanka. Enter the city with the Lord of Ayodhya enshrined in your heart, and accomplish all your business. Poison is transformed into nectar, foes turn friends, the ocean contracts itself to the size of a cow's footprint, fire becomes cool, and Mount Meru, O Garuda, appears like a grain of sand to him on whom Sri Rama has cast his benign look. Hanuman assumed a very minute form, and invoking Sri Rama, entered the city. He ransacked every mansion and saw countless warriors here and there. Then he made his way into Ravana's palace, which was marvelous beyond words. He saw the demon chief buried in sleep, but he did not find Videha's daughter there. He then noticed another splendid building with the temple of Sri Hari standing apart. The mansion had the weapons of Sri Rama painted on its walls and was beautiful beyond words. The monkey chief rejoiced to see the clusters of young tulsi plants there. Lanka is the abode of a gang of demons. How could a pious man take up his residence here? While the monkey chief was thus reasoning within himself, Vibhishana, Ravana's youngest brother, woke up. He began to repeat Sri Rama's name in prayer, and Hanuman was delighted at heart to find a virtuous soul. I shall make acquaintance with him at all events, for one's cause would never suffer at the hands of a good man. Having thus resolved, he assumed the form of a Brahmana and accosted Vibhishana. As soon as he heard Hanuman's words, he rose and came where the ladder was. Bowing low, he inquired after the Brahmana's welfare. Tell me all about you, holy sir. Are you one of Srihari's own servants? My heart is filled with exceeding love at your sight. Or are you Sri Rama himself, a loving friend of the poor who have come to bless me by your sight? Thereupon Hanuman told him all about Sri Rama and disclosed his identity as well. The moment Vibhishana heard this, a thrill ran through the body of both, and they were transported with joy at the thought of Sri Rama's hosts of virtues. Hear, O son of the wind god, how I am living here. My plight is similar to that of a poor tongue that lives in the midst of the teeth. Will the Lord of the solar race, dear friend, ever show his grace to me, knowing me to be masterless? Endowed as I am with a sinful form, I am incapable of doing any sadhana, and my heart cherishes no love for the Lord's lotus feet. But I am now confident, Hanuman, that Sri Rama will shower his grace on me, for one can never meet a saint without Sri Hari's grace. It is only because the hero of the Raghu's race has been kind to me that you have blessed me with your sight unsolicited. Listen, Vibhishana, the Lord is ever affectionate to his servants, for such is his wont. Tell me what superior birth can I claim, a frivolous monkey, vile in every way, so much so that if anyone mentions our name early in the morning, he is sure to go without any food that day. Listen, my friend, though I am so wretched, the hero of the Raghu's race has shown his grace even to me, and his eyes filled with tears as he recalled the Lord's virtues. It is not to be wondered that those who knowingly forget such a Lord and go adrift should be unhappy. Thus recounting Sri Rama's virtues, Hanuman derived unspeakable solace. Then Vibhishana fully narrated how Janaka's daughter had been living there. Thereupon Hanuman said, Listen, brother, I should like to see Mother Sita. Vibhishana fully explained to him the method of seeing her, and the son of the wind god took leave of Vibhishana and proceeded on his errand. Assuming the same minute form as he had taken before, he repaired to the Ashok grove where Sita dwelt. He mentally bowed to her as soon as he saw her. Obviously, she had been squatting away the hours of the night, emaciated in body. She wore a single braid of matted hair on her head and repeated to herself the list of Sri Rama's excellences. She had her eyes fixed on her own feet while her mind was absorbed in the thought of Sri Rama's lotus feet. The son of the wind god felt extremely miserable to see Janaka's daughter sad. Concealing himself among the leaves of a tree, he mused within himself, Come, sir, what should I do? At that very moment, Ravana arrived there, gaily adorned and accompanied by a troop of women. The wretch tried to prevail upon her in many ways, through friendly advice, allurements, threats, and estrangement. Said Ravana, listen, O beautiful and wise lady. I will make Mandodari and all other queens your handmaids. I will swear provided you cast your look on me only once, interposing a blade of grass between herself and Ravana, and fixing her thoughts on her most beloved lord, the king of Ayodhya. Videha's daughter rejoined, listen, O tin-headed monster. Can a lotus flower ever expand in the glow of a firefly? Ponder this at heart, continued Janaka's daughter. Perhaps you have no idea what Sri Rama's shafts are like. O wretch, you carried me off at a time when there was none by my side, yet you do not feel ashamed, O vile and impudent rogue. Hearing himself likened to a glowworm, and Sri Rama compared to the sun, and exasperated at her harsh words, the monster drew out his sword and said, Sita, you have hurled on me an insult. I will cut off your head with my relentless sword. If not, obey my command at once, or else you lose your life. O beautiful lady, my lord's arm is lovely as a string of blue lotuses, and shapely and long as the trunk of an elephant. O tin-headed monster, either that arm or your dreadful sword will have my neck. Hear this, my solemn vow, O fool. Turning to Ravana's glittering scimitar, take away the burning anguish of my heart, caused by the fire of separation from the Lord of the Raghus. You possess a cool, sharp, and good blade, therefore relieve the burden of my sorrow, Sita said. On hearing these words, he rushed forward to kill her. It was Queen Mandodari, Maya's daughter, who intervened and pacified him with words of good counsel. Summoning all the demons posted there, he said, go and intimidate Sita, and in every way, if she does not accept my proposal in a month's time, I will draw my sword and behead her. Having issued these instructions, the tin-headed Ravana returned to his palace. While the hosts of the fiends in the Ashok Grove assumed various kinds of hideous forms and intimidated Sita, one of these demons, Trijata, by name, was devoted to Sri Rama's feet and perfected in spiritual wisdom. She summoned all her companions, told them her dream, and exhorted them to serve Sita, and thus blessed themselves. In my dream, a monkey burnt Lanka, and the whole demon host was killed. As for the tin-headed Ravana, I saw him mounted on a donkey, all naked, with his head shorn and his 20 arms chopped off. In this fashion, he went his way to the south, and it so appeared that Lanka had passed into the hands of Vibhishana. Sri Rama's victory was proclaimed by the beat of drum throughout the city. It was then that the Lord sent for Sita. This dream, I loudly proclaim, will come true a few days hence. They were all dismayed to hear her words and fell at the feet of Janaka's daughter. Then they all dispersed in various directions, and Sita anxiously thought within herself, at the end of a month, this vile monster will slay me. With joined palms, she said to Trijata, Mother, you are my only companion in adversity. Therefore, quickly devise some means whereby I may be enabled to cast off this body. For this desolation, which is so hard to bear, can no longer be endured. Bring some wood and put up a pyre, and then my mother set fire to it. Thus prove the genuineness of my love for the Lord, O wise lady. Who will stand Ravana's words that pierce the ear like a shaft? On hearing these words, she clasped Sita's feet and comforted her by recounting the majesty's might and glory of her Lord. Listen, O cinder lady, no fire can be had at night. So saying, she left for her residence. Sita said to herself, Heaven itself has turned hostile to me. There is no fire to be had, and I cannot be cured of my agony otherwise. Sparks of fire are visibly seen in the heavens, but not a single star drops to the earth. The moon, though all fire, refuses to rain sparks, as if conscious of my wretchedness. Hear my prayer, O Ashok tree. Take away my sorrow and answer to your name. Your fresh and tender leaves bear the color of flames, therefore supply me with fire, and do not aggravate my agony beyond limits. The moment seemed like an age to Hanuman as he beheld Sita, extremely distressed due to her separation from her Lord. Then, taking thought within himself, Hanuman, the monkey chief, dropped down the signet ring as though the Ashok tree had thrown an ember in response to her prayer. She sprang up with joy and took it in her hand. Now she saw the charming ring with the name of Sri Rama most beautifully engraved on it. Recognizing the ring, she looked at it with wonder and was agitated at heart with a mixed feeling of joy and sorrow. Who can conquer the invincible Lord of the Raghus? And such a divine ring cannot be prepared through Maya. As Sita thus indulged in fancies of various kinds, Hanuman spoke in honeyed accents and began to recount Sri Ramachandra's praises. The moment they reached Sita's ears, her grief took flight. She listened with all her soul and ears while Hanuman narrated the whole story from the very beginning. Wherefore does he who has told this tale, which is like the nectar to my ears, not reveal himself? Thereupon Hanuman drew near her, while Sita sat with her back turned towards him, full of amazement. I am Sri Rama's messenger, Mother Janaki. I solemnly swear by the all-merciful Lord himself, this ring has been brought by me, O Mother. Sri Rama gave it to me as a token for you. Tell me what brought about this fellowship between men and monkey. Then Hanuman explained the circumstances in which a union was brought about between men and monkeys. As she heard the monkey's affectionate words, she had an inclination to believe him, and she know him to be a servant of the all-merciful Lord in thought, word, and deed. Perceiving him to be a devotee of Srihari, she developed an intense affection for him. Her eyes filled with tears and a thrill ran through her body. To me, who was being drowned in the ocean of desolation, dear Hanuman, you have come as a veritable bark. Now tell me, I adjure you, the welfare of all blissful Sri Rama and his younger brother Lakshman. Wherefore has the tender-hearted and compassionate Lord of the Raghus become so hard-hearted? Does the chief of the Raghus ever remember me, who is by natural disposition a source of delight to his servants? Will my eyes, dear Hanuman, be ever gladdened by the sight of his swarthy and delicate limbs? Words failed her and her eyes swam with tears. Ah, my lord, you have entirely forgotten me. Seeing Sita sore distressed due to her separation from her lord, Hanuman addressed her in soft and polite accents. The Lord and his younger brother Lakshman are both doing well, mother, except for the fact that the All-Merciful is sorrowful because of your sorrow. Do not feel vexed at heart, mother. Sri Rama loves you twice as much as you love him. Mother, compose yourself now and hear the message of Sri Rama. Even as he uttered these words, the monkey's voice was choked with emotion and his eyes filled with tears. Sri Rama said, ever since I have been separated from you, Sita, everything to me has become its very reverse. The fresh and tender leaves on the trees look like tongues of fire. Nights appear as dreadful as a night of final dissolution, and the moon scorches like the sun. Beds of lotuses are like so many spears planted on the ground, while rain clouds pour boiling oil, as it were. Those that were friendly before have now become tormenting. The cool, soft, and fragrant breezes are now like the hissing serpent. One's agony is assuaged to some extent even by speaking of it, but to whom shall I speak about it? For there is no one who will understand. The reality about the cord of love that binds you and me, dear, is known to my mind alone, and my mind ever abides with you. Know this to be the essence of my love. Videha's daughter was so absorbed in love, the moment she heard the Lord's message, she lost all consciousness of her body. Said the monkey, Mother, collect yourself and fix your thoughts on Sri Rama, the delight of his servants. Reflect on the glory of the Lord of the Raghus and shake off all faint-heartedness upon my word. The hosts of demons are like so many moths, while the shafts of the Lord of the Raghus are like flames. Have courage in your heart, mother, and take the demons as consumed. Had the hero of Raghu's line any news about you, the Lord of the Raghus would not have tarried. The moment Sri Rama's arrows make their appearance like the sun, the demon hosts would be scattered like the shadows of night, mother. I would take you to him at this very moment, but I swear by Rama, I have no such orders from the Lord. Therefore, wait patiently for some days more, mother, till the hero of the Raghu's line arrives with the troops of monkeys. Slaughtering the demons, he will take you away, while Narada and the other sages will glorify him in all the three spheres of creation. But my son, all the monkeys must be small like you, whereas the demons are mighty and great warriors. I have grave misgivings in my heart on this score. On hearing this, the monkey revealed his real form, colossal as a mountain of gold, terrible in battle, possessing great might and full of valor. Sita now took comfort in her heart, and the son of the wind god thereupon resumed his small appearance. Listen, mother, monkeys possess no great strength or intelligence either, but through the Lord's might, the most tiny snake might swallow Garuda. Sita felt gratified at heart even as she heard the monkey's words full of devotion and revealing Sri Rama's majesty, glory, and strength. Recognizing him as the beloved of Sri Rama, she gave him her blessing. May you become a repository of strength and virtue, dear son. May you ever remain immune from old age and death and prove to be a storehouse of good qualities, my son. And may the Lord of the Raghus shower his abundant grace on you. The moment the words, "May the Lord be gracious to you," reached his ears, Hanuman was utterly overwhelmed with emotion. Again and again, the monkey bowed his head at her feet with joined palms, addressed her thus: "I have now accomplished all that I had to accomplish, my mother. For your blessing, everyone knows, is unfailing. Listen, mother, I am feeling frightfully hungry at the sight of these trees laden with delicious fruits. I tell you, my son, this grove is guarded by most valiant and mighty demons. Mother, I am not all afraid of them, only if I have your hearty approval." Seeing the monkey perfect in strength and wit, Janaka's daughter said, "Go, my son, and enjoy the luscious fruit with your heart fixed on Sri Rama's feet." Bowing his head, he went forth and entered the grove, and having eaten the fruit, he began to break down the trees. A number of warriors had been posted there as guards. Some of them were killed by him, while the rest took flight and cried for help. "O Lord, a huge monkey has made his appearance and has laid waste, has eaten fruits, uprooted trees, and having crushed the watchmen, has laid them on the ground." On hearing this, Ravana dispatched a number of his champions. Hanuman roared when he saw them and slaughtered the whole demon host. A few that had survived though well nigh killed, escaped screaming. Ravana then sent Prince Aksha, who sallied forth with a vast number of his best warriors. Seeing them approach, Hanuman seized a tree and threatened them, and having overthrown the prince, roared with a loud yell. Some he slew, some he crushed, and some he seized and pounded with dust. And some who escaped cried, "O Lord, the monkey is too strong for us." The king of Lanka flew into a rage when he heard of his son's death and sent the mighty Meghanada. "Kill him not, my son, but bind him. Let us see the monkey and ascertain wherefrom he comes." Meghanada, the conqueror of Indra, sallied forth a peerless champion, seized with fury at the news of his brother's death. When Hanuman saw this fierce warrior approach, he gnashed his teeth and with a roar rushed forward to meet him. He tore up a tree of enormous size and smashed with it the car, thus rendering the crown prince of Lanka without chariot. As for the mighty warriors who accompanied him, Hanuman seized them one by one and crushed them by the weight of his limbs. Having finished them off, he closed with Meghanada. It was like the encounter of two lordly elephants. Striking the opponent with his clenched fist, Hanuman sprang and climbed up a tree, while his opponent lay unconscious for a moment. He rose again and resorted to many a delusive device, but the son of the wind god was not to be vanquished. Meghanada ultimately fitted to his bow the arrow known as Brahmastra, the weapon presided over by Brahma. When Hanuman thought within himself, "If I submit not to Brahma's own weapon, its infinite glory will be cast to the winds." He launched the Brahmastra against Hanuman, who crushed the whole host even as he fell. When he saw that the monkey had swooned, he entangled the latter in a noose of serpents and carried him off. Now, Parvati, is it conceivable that the envoy of the Lord, whose very name enables the wise to cut asunder the bonds of mundane existence, should come under bondage? No. It was in the service of the Lord that Hanuman allowed himself to be bound. When the demons heard that the monkey had been captured and noosed, they all rushed to the court in order to enjoy the spectacle. The monkey arrived and saw Ravana's court. His superb glory baffled description. Even gods and regents of the quarters stood meek with joined palms, all watching the movement of his eyebrows in great dismay. But the monkey's mind was no more disturbed at the sight of this power than Garuda would be frightened in the midst of a number of serpents. When the 10-headed monster saw the monkey, he laughed and railed at him. But presently he recalled his son's death and felt sad at heart. Said the king of Lanka, "Who are you, monkey, and by whose might have you wrought the destruction of the grove? What, did you never hear my name? I see you are an exceptionally bold wretch. For what offense did you kill the demons? Tell me, fool, are you not afraid of losing your life? Listen, Ravana, recall him by whose might Maya brings forth numberless universes, by whose might, O 10-headed monster, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiv carry on their respective function of creation, preservation, and destruction. By whose might the 1,000-headed serpent supports on his head the entire globe with its mountains and forests, who assumes various forms in order to protect the gods and teach a lesson to wretches like you, who broke Shiva's unbending bow and crushed with it the pride of a host of princes, who dispatched Kathā, Dushana, Trishira, and Vali, all unequaled in strength. Install the image of Sri Rama's lotus feet in your heart and enjoy the uninterrupted sovereignty of Lanka. The glory of the sage Pulastya, your grandfather, shines like the moon without its spots. Be not a speck in that moon. Speech is charmless without Sri Rama's name. Ponder and see for yourself, casting aside arrogance and infatuation. A fair lady without clothes, O enemy of gods, does not look herself even though adorned with all kinds of jewels. The fortune and lordship of a man who is hostile to Rama eventually leave him even if they stay a while, and are as good as lost if acquired anew. Rivers that have no perennial source get dried up as soon as the rains are over. Listen, O ten-headed Ravana, I tell you an oath. There is none to save him who is opposed to Sri Rama, Shankara, Vishnu, and Brahma, and their thousands are unable to protect you, an enemy of Sri Rama. Abandon pride, which is the same as darkness, rooted as it is in ignorance and is a source of considerable pain, and adore Lord Sri Rama, the chief of the Raghus, and an ocean of compassion. Although Hanuman gave him exceedingly salutary advice, full of devotion, discretion, dispassion, and wisdom, the most haughty Ravana laughed and said, "We have found a most wise guru in this monkey." Turning towards Hanuman, he continued, "Death hangs over your head, O wretch. This is why you have started extorting me, O vile monkey." "Just the contrary is going to happen," retorted Hanuman. "I clearly perceive that you are laboring under some mental illusion." Hearing these words of Hanuman, Ravana got nettled. "Why not some of you quickly kill this fool?" As soon as the demons heard it, they rushed forward to kill him. That very moment came Vibhishana with his counselors. Bowing his head, he made humble entreaty. "It is against all statecraft. An envoy must not be killed. He may be punished in some other way, my master." All exclaimed to one another, "This is sound counsel, brother." Hearing this, the ten-headed Ravana laughed and said, "All right, the monkey may be sent back mutilated. A monkey is very fond of his tail, I tell you this secret. Therefore, swathe his tail with rags soaked in oil and set fire to it." When the tailless monkey will go back, the wretch will bring his master with him, and I shall have an opportunity of seeing his might, whom he has so lavishly exalted. Hanuman smiled to himself on hearing these words. Goddess Sharada has proved helpful to me, I believe. On hearing Ravana's command, the stupid demons started doing as they were bid. Not a rag was left in the city, nor a drop of ghee or oil. The tail had grown to a great length through Hanuman's playful gesture. The citizens thronged to see the fun. They kicked Hanuman and jeered much at him. With beating of drums and clapping of hands, they took him around the city and then set fire to his tail. When Hanuman saw the fire blazing, he immediately assumed an utterly diminutive size and slipped out of his bonds, sprang to the attics of the gold palace to the dismay of the demons. At that moment, impelled by God, all the 49 winds began to bluster. Hanuman soared with a loud laugh and swelled to such a size that he seemed to touch the sky. Though colossal in size, Hanuman appeared most nimble-bodied. He ran and sprang from palace to palace. The city was all ablaze, and the people were at their wits' end. Terrible flames burst forth in myriads, and piteous cries were heard everywhere. "O Father, ah, my mother, who will save us at this hour?" As I said, he is no monkey, but some god in the form of a monkey. Such is the result of despising a noble soul. The city is being consumed by fire as though it had no master. In the twinkling of an eye, Hanuman burnt down the whole city, barring the solitary house of Vibhishana Parvati. Hanuman went unscathed because he was the messenger of him who created fire itself. He burnt the whole of Lanka from one end to the other and then leapt into the ocean. After quenching his tail and relieving his fatigue, he resumed his small form and stood before Janaka's daughter with joined palms. "Be blessed, mother, to give me some token such as the Lord of the Raghus gave me." She thereupon unfastened the jewel on her head and gave it to the son of the wind god, who gladly received it. "Convey my obeisance to him, dear son." With these words, "My Lord is all sufficient, yet recalling your vow of kindness to the afflicted, relieve, O master, my grievous distress. Repeat to him, my son, the episode of Indra's son, and remind the Lord of the might of his arrows. If the Lord does not arrive here within a month, he will not find me alive. Tell me, Hanuman, how can I preserve my life for you too, my son? Now speak of going. Your sight have brought relief to my heavy heart. I have before me now the same dreary days and weary nights. And that concludes our reading this evening, and we'll continue next Saturday at 5 p.m.